Good morning, NFC East. Happy Hump Day. Happy Wednesday to all of you. We only got a couple more days to the NFC Championship game, Sunday at 3 o'clock on Fox. It's going to be a good time. Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports here. Tone DeShields is with me. I do have a column coming out later today. Just got to wrap it up. But we can talk about a little bit later, Tone, about 4 reasons why the Eagles can win the Super Bowl. And I have to do this for every team for CBS, but today it's Eagles Day. So we get to talk about that. But Tone brought up something to me, backstage, that I think today's a good day to do it since we're going to start actually previewing the NFC title game. No more of this Chris Sims BS. And, I mean, we can talk about Eli Apple too if we want to. That guy's a moron. But anyway, we're going to go position by position. Eagles and 49ers. And I guess we'll start with the obvious, Tone. I'm pretty sure we can both agree quarterback goes to the Eagles.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that's really a conversation. Some people are trying to make it a conversation these days, but I feel like Jalen Hurts has earned his lumps. He took his lumps, and he was an MVP candidate. He's the All-Pro. Brock Purdy, yes, he's on this winning streak. He's on this magic carpet ride with the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm going to give him credit where credit is due. He's been doing his job to the best of his ability, and I'm not going to take anything away from him in terms of that. But Jalen Hurts is a guy who's just been head and shoulders above the pack. I'll put it like this, right? Jalen Hurts is the system, whereas though Brock Purdy is a cog in the system. And I think that's the significant difference between these two guys.
And there's nothing wrong with that either. Kyle Shanahan has had plenty of quarterbacks that have been a product of his system. I mean, Matt Ryan won MVP in Kyle Shanahan's system. Matt Ryan's really good. And Kyle Shanahan's been trying to find a Matt Ryan type pretty much ever since he got to San Francisco. Maybe it's Brock Purdy. Who knows? But I just need more than 7 games with Brock Purdy. And I've seen Sean King go to an NFC title game and completely stink the bed. So, I mean, I don't want to compare Brock Purdy to Sean King, but he is a rookie that's been to the title game, and he's facing, pretty much I don't want to call them an unstoppable force because that's not what they are, but the Eagles are clearly the best team in the NFC. If you want my honest opinion, that's what they are. I know the 49ers won 12 straight and they got the better skill players, but if you look top to bottom, which is why we're going to do the rosters here, the Eagles are better. So now let's go to running back. To me, I got to give the edge to San Francisco because of Christian McCaffrey. Miles Sanders, Boston Scott can't game well, fine, but Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell, they're just on a different level.
Yeah, I would probably do it like this. I would say CMC is top dog, then Miles, and then Elijah Mitchell, then Kenny Gainwell, and then Boston. If I had to rank them in terms of obviously how good they are, CMC is just a freak, man. Let's be honest. So CMC, he's a wide receiver playing running back, and he's a running back playing wide receiver. He does everything. He runs routes better. He runs routes better than some number 2 wide receivers, number 1 wide receivers, right? So you got to give the edge to CMC. He's just such a dynamic player. He's so slippery, and he just knows how to turn. He knows how to turn bad plays into good plays. And he knows how to turn good plays into great plays. He's just a freak of nature.
Yeah, here's the thing with Christian McCaffrey too. They haven't lost since they traded for Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he's played a full game. I'm not talking about the Chiefs game. The Chiefs game is his first game. But since Christian McCaffrey has pretty much been a starter for this team, they haven't lost because they won 12 in a row. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, if they win the Super Bowl, it's because they traded for Christian McCaffrey. That was a brilliant move for them. Wide receiver. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Zach Pascal, Quez Watkins for the Eagles. By the way, did you happen to realize Zach Pascal played a lot more than Quez Watkins on Saturday night?
I'm actually glad you brought that up. That was something I noticed immediately. And that told me a couple things. A, Zach Pascal had a much better week of practice compared to Quez. But also, having Zach Pascal on the field allowed that game plan to really be executed properly. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Zach Pascal is a much better blocker than Quez Watkins. And when you see Zach Pascal on the field more so, that kind of gives you a feel for how the game is going to go in terms of what their game plan is going to be. But I'll take it a step further. I know a lot of people are in love with Quez Watkins. Maybe it's because his name, or he gives us he gives us a few flash plays here and there, and it's just exciting. And we all hope, or we all wish, that he can just be this barn burner or this home run hitter. But that hasn't been the case this year, and on a consistent basis. But I'll say this: I think Zach Pascal is better than Quez Watkins. I believe that. I believe that you can get more out of. I believe you can get more out of Zach Pascal than Quez Watkins. Quez Watkins is kind of a one-trick pony. He runs terrible routes. He rounds them off all the time, which allowed for a couple turnovers to happen this year. If he's not running in a straight line, how dangerous is he? Whereas though I believe Zach Pascal, and I've seen the film. I've seen Zach Pascal with the Colts, and I've seen him with us whenever he's had an opportunity. I think Zach Pascal is a much better route runner.
I like Zach Pascal too. I like the free agent signing when they brought him in. Remember, they brought him in like one of the first days of free agency. And remember back then, Tone, everybody was like, well, what are they doing here? Zach Pascal's the only wide receiver they're bringing in. Like what are we doing here? And then Howie Roseman trades for A.J. Brown at the draft, and everything changes. But I agree with you. I think people are attached to Quez Watkins. Remember a couple years ago when they drafted Reagor and they had Marquise Goodwin, and it was pretty much the Eagles could make a 4x100 relay team with them, John Hightower, Quez Watkins. Well, Quez Watkins is the only one left. So maybe that's it. And I think Quez Watkins can stick around in the NFL, but he's not
terrible. I don't want to give the impression that he's terrible.
But he's not a 2.
He's not a 2. And I just think Zach Pascal is more fundamentally sound because he has to be. He's not as fast as Quez Watkins. He was undrafted. He's a guy that had to earn his way every step of the way. Quez has had to earn it as well because he was a 6th-round pick. But Zach Pascal is a guy who, again, not that fast, not that physically imposing, so he has to be fundamentally sound. But he's a bigger body. He's much bigger body than Quez Watkins. He's a better blocker. So I just think he's much more useful in that number 3 role, especially going deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, for wide receiver, though, I am going to give the edge to the Eagles. Nothing against Deebo Samuel, nothing against Brandon Ayuk. Those two are ballers. I kind of wanted Brandon Ayuk on the Eagles the year they drafted Reagor, but I also thought Justin Jefferson would be off the board, too, at that time. So, Brandon Ayuk's turned out to be a fine player. I think
Devontae's better than him, though.
Oh, I think so, too. Yeah. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, if you look at the depth, the Eagles are better at wide receivers. We'll go offensive line. We have to go Eagles, right? They're the best offensive line in football.
Yeah. I'm looking at both offensive lines right now, and Trent Williams is obviously the best offensive lineman out of everyone. Trent Williams is a bona fide Hall of Famer.
Would you give him the edge over Lane right now?
I would give him the edge because he's a left tackle, and left tackles, obviously, their value is significantly higher than the right tackle. But depending on if your quarterback is left-handed or right-handed, right? But Trent Williams, man, he's a bona fide Hall of Famer. He's just so great, and it's so hard to go against Trent Williams. But again, I will only give him the edge because he's a left tackle. But then after that, you got Lane, Kelsey, Samalu, Mailata. I don't think the 49ers have a better offensive lineman on their line except for Trent Williams.
Mike McGlinchey is going to be the key for them on Sunday because he's going to be going up against Hassan Reddick and Micah Parsons. The one play aside where he looked like Reggie White, he kind of did have his way against Mike McGlinchey when he was lined up on his side. And the Eagles have the luxury of, okay, we can line up Hassan Reddick there. We can line up Brandon Graham there. We really want to. We can put Josh Sweat there. The Eagles have a bunch of advantages there. The right side of the 49ers offensive line can be very exposed on Sunday. Yeah,
definitely. So let's take it a step further, right? Let's move to the defensive side of the ball. Defensive line. Whose defensive line are you taking? Not best defensive player, but the defensive line, the unit.
The Eagles. The Eagles. I gotta be honest. 70 sacks. Let's be real here. Are they as good against the run as the 49ers? No, but we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
To me, you got Hassan Reddick, you got Josh Sweat, you got Brandon Graham, you got Robert Quinn, you got Fletcher Cox, you got Javon Hargrave, you got Milton Williams. Stop me if I'm forgetting anybody here, Tone. This defensive line is loaded. They can get to the quarterback. They can stop the run when they need to. Not that they're great against the run, but they're good enough. And I think they need to be great against the run on Sunday. That's where I think the 49ers can win this game because they have Christian McCaffrey, they have Elijah Mitchell, they have Deebo Samuel. Kyle Shanahan has that zone run scheme. And that's where I think Hassan Reddick's a pure pass rusher, but I know he's not excellent against the run. That might take him off the field because Brandon Graham is excellent against the run.
Right. And another thing to think about as well is the fact that the Eagles have 4 guys in the double-digit sack category. 4 guys. Whereas, though, the San Francisco 49ers only have 1. And that's by a landslide, right? Nick Bosa had like 18 sacks on the season. The next closest guy had 5 sacks. And then the guy beyond that has 4.5. Like, Nick Bosa is that defensive line. Nick Bosa is that pass rush. You know, I'm not taking anything away from Eric Armstead and what they're capable of doing, but let's be frank here. The numbers tell you that. And also just what you see. The disparity in sacks and that result from the pass rush is alarming. Nick Bosa is their pass rush. And on top of that, one of their demon linemen actually just got arrested this week. I'm not going to get into the reasoning, not any of my business at all, but he got arrested this week, and that may be a distraction. That he is Nick Bosa's rotational guy, the guy that comes in when Nick Bosa comes off the field. So now they've been impacted in terms of depth. So go ahead.
Oh, and Charles Omaheu, who was arrested.
He
can ball. He's a baller. He was a baller in Houston. I love the sign for San Francisco. I actually kind of want the Eagles to pursue him if they wanted to get a cheaper edge rushing free agent this offseason. Again, he's one of those guys. I thought he was a good compliment to Bosa when they do put him in there. But this is why I try telling Eagles fans this. They don't want to listen sometimes. There's a reason why Nick Bosa is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He carries that team. He literally carries them. He led the league in sacks. He led the league in quarterback hits by a wide margin. The guy's a baller. Like you said, Tone. He's a baller. And he gets nothing against Hassan Reddick. It's not against Michael Parsons. But people are making this silly debate over those two. I'm like, did we forget Nick Bosa exists? Or do you not watch him?
With all due respect, man. Fans know damn well. They know if Nick Bosa said, I want to come to Philly, they send in whoever on that defensive line to the 49ers. I'll make it real simple. As great as Hassan Reddick has been, he has been great. He's been spectacular. We all would trade Hassan Reddick for Nick Bosa straight up. Let's be honest.
I think anybody would trade. I mean, really, who do you not trade for Nick Bosa? TJ Watt, Myles Garrett? Might be it. Michael Parsons?
Well, I think I put all of those guys, especially TJ Watt and Myles Garrett. I would probably rather have Myles Garrett because he's available more often than those guys. Because from a health perspective, Nick Bosa and TJ Watt, they correct me if I'm wrong, but they seem to get hurt pretty often.
Watt got hurt this year. I mean, he got hurt last year too, but I don't know. I think the Watt family gets hurt a lot. I mean, JJ Watt got hurt. It might be just their style of play. They're
violent. They're violent pass rushers. They contort their bodies. They do anything to get to the food. So I ain't mad at that.
TJ Watt's injury was weird. That torn pec. I mean, that can happen to anybody.
Definitely.
It's just a weird injury for him. But you're right. Myles Garrett seems to play every. By the way, I don't want to go too off topic. Myles Garrett here. He could get 20 sacks with Jim Schwartz as his defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see what that looks like.
They definitely got a defensive coordinator that's going to play the Myles Garrett strength. But they have linebacker. I got to give the edge to the 49ers.
Have to.
Simply because what a stud. What an absolute stud.
When you see a linebacker run stride for stride with the number 1 wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb, what are we doing here, man? That guy's like a corner / safety / linebacker all in one body, man. He's an athletic freak at the position. You got to give the edge. Both their linebackers are better than ours, Greenlaw and Fred Warner. I don't think that's a debate.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the best off-ball linebacker in football, if we're going to be honest. TJ Edwards has been really good for the Eagles this year.
Yeah, he's great at what he does.
Fred Warner's just on a different planet. I mean, he's the reason why the 49ers have such a great run defense, which is why I'm so curious about this game on Sunday to see what Nick Sirianni does, see what he brings to the table in terms of running the football. Will he try to attack them via the pass early, or is he going to use the pass to set up the run? That's what I'm really curious. I cannot wait to see how DeMeco Ryans uses Fred Warner. By the way, Fred Warner plays a lot like DeMeco Ryans did.
I mean, did he draft him? Was he a part of that staff that brought him in?
Was DeMeco there yet? I don't think so. I think he was with the Texans. Still.
Okay. But still, again.
They brought him in 17. So, no, Robert Saleh was there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, those guys are just dominant forces. T.J. Edwards and Kaiser White, they're solid at what they do, but they're just not those guys. Yeah. All right, let's try to speed this up. We have our guy, Kevin Boillard, in the backfield, waiting for his chance to get at bat. So, all right, let's do this. Cornerback, I give the edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. What about you?
Yeah, Slay and Bradbury. By the way, that's another matchup I want to see on Sunday. Jalen Hurts, deep ball. He's the best deep ball thrower in the league. And the 49ers are bottom 5 defense in defending the deep ball. So if Jalen Hurts gets some time, we can see some big plays on Sunday.
Okay. Now, safety. Obviously, C.J. Gardner-Johnson is back, and then the Eagles have elevated Reed Blankenship to that starting role. And then the 49ers have Talanoa Hufanga and Tashawn Gibson Sr. This is interesting to me because
I think I'd go. You know what? I'll interrupt you quick.
You're good.
I'll go Niners.
Talanoa Hufanga is the wild card, right? He's the edge.
I think so. I would go there. I mean, Hufanga is one of those guys. He's everywhere.
I think Hufanga is a better all around player than CJ. I think Hufanga is a better tackler. But CJ is just a ball hawk, man. I think CJ has better ball skills.
Here's the thing: I think a wild card here too is Avonte Max. If he plays Sunday, then CJ gets to play safety instead of playing that nickel hybrid role.
Definitely.
I don't know if Avante's going to play Sunday. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, man. But without further ado, you guys, we have our guy Kevin Boillard behind the scenes, ready to come in and answer some questions for us. He has a lot to answer for today, but it's going to be exciting. Kevin's my guy, man. And it's all fun and games. You guys are locked in on Good Morning NFC East. He's Jeff Kerr, and I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II. Keep it locked, you guys.